So pivot tables, a thing of mystery, because when they work really well, they're great, and then sometimes they don't. I'm going to talk you through doing a basic one, just show you some of the things you can do with it, and I just want you to have a go at using them because they're so quick and save us so much time. So let's jump in and see how we can get this one to work. So here's my example. I've got my data over here and it's all laid out. I'm going to make it a table. You don't have to do this, but I feel it really tells me that the data is all correct and there's no merged cells. Make sure I've got all my column headings. So just going to do the shortcut key there, Control and T. Picks up my data and choose OK. So there we go, my data's a table now, and that should help me understand that the pivot table will actually work. Okay, so now we've done that, we're going to insert the pivot table. I use the insert menu, there's other ways of doing it, but let's go to insert at the top of the screen. That's there, just so you can see it. And there's the pivot table button. Okay, this box comes up. Now, this box, this dialog box is divided into two halves. The top half is telling me where the data is coming from. It's picked up my table. And the lower half is telling me where the data is going to be placed. So it's the lower half I'm going to be concentrating on. So we're going to place the data into an existing worksheet. I want it to be in this worksheet. And then I have to tell it what cell. So make sure you click in the location and then you click on a cell in your spreadsheet, because otherwise it doesn't know where to put it and it will just come back with an error message. And if you know from seeing my videos before, you're not going to win an argument with Excel. Let's choose OK. Okay, and we are good to go. So what has it done? Well, not a lot at the moment. On the left hand side, I have like a framework for my pivot table. Nothing to see here yet. On the right hand side, I have my pivot table fields. This is where you choose where to place the information in your pivot table. It is. Now I find this box quite squashed up, so I'm going to move it. I'm going to grab it and just move it out. So I'm going to hover over this heading here, just highlight that in red so you can see where my mouse will be, and I will click and drag and I'll move it into the middle of my screen, which enables me to see it very clearly. There we are. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this box wider. So if I again, I've highlighted in red the area of the screen I'm in. I'm going to hover over that corner and the mouse changes to a double arrow, and then I can drag to a reasonable size, and this will make you feel much more comfortable, make you be able to see the information, because one of the biggest problems with pivot tables is we can't actually see what we're putting where. So the other thing I have done, and it might look different to what yours does, is I've changed the layout. So if you come up to this cog here, or flower, whatever you like to call it, click on the little drop down, and I'm going to choose, it normally defaults to the first option, which looks like this, which is really unfriendly. So I use the cog and I use the second option, which is fields, section and areas side by side. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, that. But what that will do, that will just lay out my box. So I have the table headings on the left, and I have all the areas where my pivot table fields can go on the right. It's much easier to use. Once you change that setting, it will remember it next time you use a pivot table, so you don't keep needing to change it. Okay, so now we've got this. A few tips here. My first one is not to tick these boxes, because when you tick the boxes, Excel puts the fields where it wants to put the fields, and you don't get the control. So we want to retain control. So I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to take the company and I'm going to drag that over to the rows. Okay, so now in my pivot table, you'll see what's happening so far. I've got all my rows in here, and the company is ticked, and it's telling me that the company is appearing in the rows. So there's a lot of information going on there. If you're following this video, maybe take time to pause it for a couple of seconds and just look at what's gone where, because there is a lot going on the screen, and I can see, why that can be confusing when you're first starting. Okay, and then we're going to put the amount in the value. So again, I'm going to click and drag the field. I'm not going to tick. ticking would work, it just puts it where it wants to put it. Okay, so now what's happened is I can see exactly what amount has been paid or outstanding by what company. Now, I can't actually see at the moment whether they're paid amounts or whether they're outstanding. So let's change it a bit. So I'm going to, in fact, I'll take the company out. So to take a field out, you can untick or you can drag it back into that box. See that red cross there? That indicates it's just going back to where it lives normally. So this time I'm going to put the paid column in the rows. So I've got paid in the rows, values in the amount. So it'll just give me a list of how much money has been paid, how much money has been outstanding. So you can see my pivot table now. Okay, but what we can do, we can build up the rows to show more information. So I'm going to add the company field into the rows as well. So I'm going to drag that over. Now, I can put it, let me just make that wider. I can put it underneath, I can switch those round. So at the moment, I've got paid at the top and company at the bottom. So paid is the biggest grouping, and then within the paid is grouping the company. But I could, if I wanted to, switch them just by dragging company on top of paid. So now it's looking at the company first, and then it's grouping the paid and outstanding. And I wish there was a formula to say this is the right way to do it, but very much depends on your situation. So am I looking at each company and seeing whether, you know, they've got paid and outstanding invoices, or am I looking at the overall picture and wanting to see how many have been paid, how many are outstanding? And I think that determines what goes in, what order they go in the rows. Another tip that I use when I'm training is to say to people, start by putting information in the rows first and the values first, because once you've got that information, you can then move the fields around as you want, but start off with that as your core fields. You might find that doesn't work for you and you have to move things. I would put the field in first that you already know about. So say you're working on a project and you know, right, I want to see how well this project is doing, then that gives you an indication of what information is going in the rows. It is probably the hardest thing to work out, but play around. A pivot table doesn't affect your data, so don't be afraid to change things around. So for instance, I might put paid into the columns. So now I get a totally different view of my pivot table, because in the columns I've got paid and outstanding at the top, and that might work better for me. I'm actually going to go back to the view I had before because I quite like that one. So it's very specific. Now the other thing I would also do is Excel gives us these headings, and these headings are generic, they're not very well explained, so put your own headings in. I'm going to click on the word row labels, and I'm just going to call this one payments. Just type over the top like I'm editing text, and then in sum of amount I'm just going to call it total. So you can change those headings to be something that works and that is realistic. I'm just going to format those. I think I'll centre the word total. And one other thing I will do on the pivot table is I like to change the formatting. Now the formatting is underrated a bit, because the better we format it, if we choose currency, it is more readable. If I format to 2 decimal places, it's also more readable. So I'm going to format it as currency. I will right click on one of the figures, and now this is interesting because this box comes up and it says format cells and number format, and our instinct is to go to format cells because that's what we always do. But I don't want you to go to format cells, I want you to go to number format. And the difference is, if you were to add anything to this pivot table or to update it, to refresh it, it will always show that information in currency. If I choose format cells, it will only format the ones that are showing there, and everything else will be formatted as just a general format. So always go for number format. I know you're being drawn to the format cells, but number format, currency, obviously number if you weren't dealing with pounds, and then choose OK. And there we go. So if I change add anything, it will always refresh. Just to recap on that, we right clicked on the figure, went up to number format. Give that a go. Okay. Now one more thing it's going to mention to you, if I change any of my data, just need to right click and refresh, and what that will do, that will get the pivot table to connect back with the data and update the information. So there we go. So I now have a pivot table. Just to say as well that next to the word outstanding is this tiny minus sign, and I can just collapse those fields so I don't have to see everything. And then if I want to expand the fields, I can click on the plus symbol just to see those bits. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I do have a pivot tables course on my website, so I'll put a link into that, and that goes into this in a lot more detail, and also talks about how your data has a big impact on the pivot table. Thanks very much for listening, and good luck. Have a go. Maybe try it out on this. Try it out on a sample file first. See if you can get it to work. Thank you for watching.